I started playing pool, and this guy kept beating me and beating me and beating me. And I was just like, you know what? This guy's not better than me. Let's gamble.
Wait. He
This
beats you
is-
a bunch of times in a row, and you're like, well, let's do it for money.
Yeah, let's.
What a good idea.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my buddy.
All right, guys,
we working hard
welcome
for this
back.
money.
Table One Podcast. Justin Young, co-host Art Parmann, and very special guest, another member of Team Lucky, Josh Arieh is with us today.
Very special.
Thanks
for having
Almost
me,
needs a
guys.
helmet special.
Yeah, helmet and a smaller size bust than normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to have you on. I appreciate it. I know it's during the World Series, busy time of year, and it's 9 a.m. So this is a tough ask for a lot of people, poker players especially, to get up this early and do it.
Yeah, I'm still like, it's been 2 weeks, and I'm still up early every day. I guess I'm still on East Coast time.
It sounds like you're not making any day twos, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
All right, so you're originally from New York, or did you grow up there, or were you just born there?
No, I lived in New York, in Rochester, New York, until I was like 9 years old. My dad served in the Israeli army, met my mom while she was at the University of Jerusalem, and after the army, moved to Rochester, so started the family there, and then my mom and dad got divorced, and my dad got a job in Atlanta, so he packed 3 kids, or my dad had custody, so my dad packed 3 kids and drove to Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been there ever since.
Well, okay, so you consider Atlanta, when someone asks where you're from, it's Atlanta. It's not,
it's Atlanta's home.
I was kind of the same way, same deal. Born in Colorado, parents split, went to North Carolina basically. So yeah, but I guess I claim North Carolina.
Yeah.
My wife gets mad at me if I ever claim Colorado.
Yeah.
Three Southerners in one room. I kind of claim Virginia. I've been there since 3rd grade.
Dad, Virginia's not the South.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking maybe I was in there, and I guess I'm out.
It depends where. Like I can't remember exactly where you're from, but like Eastern Virginia is not the South. Western Virginia can be the South.
Deep South.
Yeah, that's honorary South.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm Colonial Williamsburg type area, so we'll be not the South, I guess.
All right, so growing up, were you just playing games all the time? Was it like kind of the classic story of like a lot of like gin, bridge, any of that stuff?
No, I didn't know anything about cards. Like my earliest gambling recollection is I was in 8th grade, and a bunch of guys that just like, I guess the cool guys that I wanted to be friends with, we would spend the night at one of the guys' house that his parents were divorced or something. They were never there, so we would stay there, and they had a pool table. And I started playing pool, and this guy kept beating me and beating me and beating me, and I was just like, you know what? This guy's not better than me. Let's gamble.
Wait. He beats you a bunch of times in a row, and you're like, well, let's do it for money.
Yeah, let's.
What a good idea.
So now I'm just double or nothing every game. And I lost every fucking game. And this is the God's honest truth. I paid him with a J. Crew pullover. And back then, J. Crew didn't have stores. You had to buy it from the catalog. So it was like a J. Crew jacket was special because I cut grass for that money. And a polo wallet.
Oh, wow.
Like literally, I cut grass every day on the weekends to make money to buy nice stuff. And I lost it playing pool. So that was my introduction to gambling. My high school was different. So I never really was into drinking and didn't really like getting screwed up every night. And my high school was like, from the time school went out on Friday, everybody was going to a park getting drunk and just getting high. And it just wasn't my thing, so I found the pool hall. And I was at the pool hall every Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, playing pool for 2 to 5, just gambling. And then it progressed, I got better. And so when people would go on spring break when I was in high school, I would save money thinking that I was going to go on spring break, but now I had like $500 in my pocket, and what the fuck do I want to go drink and party for when I can go to the pool hall and gamble? And
are you in high school at this point?
yeah, this is in high school, and I was actually decent in high school with my grades, and I was a pretty good baseball player. But as soon as I found gambling and playing pool, like those.
It overtakes, huh? You ever get you ever win your polo back off of off old
No,
Billy down the street?
no, his name's Ethan, and you know what the weirdest shit is? His name is Ethan, and I got married last month. He was staying at the same resort at the same time
Come on,
that I got.
stop.
Swear to God.
I think he's looking for a rematch.
I swear.
he knows he has a little bit of money. You want to
He
play for a
can
couple
get a
polos.
rematch in basically anything, except being a ER doctor. You know, we can gamble at just about anything. I found gambling early, and it really hurt my education. But I mean, I wasn't that good at school. I was never going to go to college, and I was kind of fortunate to find the pool hall, and then the pool hall changed to gambling. I mean, to poker. So there was this bartender at the pool hall that we were going to when I was about 18, and when the pool hall would close, he would lock the doors and he would deal poker. It was some format of stud, like Follow the Queen or baseball or something. And he would rob everybody. And the math of it was interesting to me, to how like somebody would put their whole stack in, and it was always easy for me to figure out that if I need to make a flush, there's only 9, available. And so it was always interesting to me how you could get on the right side of math. And it was crazy because there would be guys sitting around the pool hall all day, and they wouldn't play unless they had the nuts. Like they had to rob somebody to be in action. And these guys were going dead broke playing poker. So that was my first attraction to poker. And then there was this old hustler that was a cheat. He was everything that was bad about gambling. And to this day, I look back at him as one of my role models but no.
End it there. That's it.
No. He was like who I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he was so smart. He was actually the MVP of the Final Four tournament before it was called the NCAA tournament in basketball. You can look his name up. His name is Larry Cart. He was like from 1949. It was the Sugar Bowl tournament. Mm-hmm. It's what the NCAA tournament evolved to being.
Got it. What team did he play for? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
No. But anyway, this guy was a cheat. He had girl problems, drug problems, you name it all. This guy, and he could have been one of the best gin players in the world, but he couldn't help cheating. Like he had to peep the bottom card. Yeah. It was like no matter what, he had to feel just something about it. And I just didn't ever want to be like him. Well, anyway, he started introducing me to games around town, and so I would go to play, like back then it was all limit, and so I was playing like $2 and $4 limit, and it was pretty easy to me. And one of the big things was I didn't have to pay pool time. Like when you win money playing pool, you have to pay the pool time. So it's like you win $100, you pay $20. But when you go play poker, you win 500, you win 200, you get it all.
Yeah.
And it's like that was before I realized about rake and all that stuff. And
secondary, yeah.
Yeah, but so I just started love playing poker, and every time my bankroll, I was still not 21, but then I got my brother's ID, and I drove to Biloxi. This is a funny story. I'm playing in Biloxi, and my buddy's car breaks down that we drove down, and he was driving an Audi, and this is like in '94, and there was no place in Biloxi that could fix this Audi. So it was a foreign car. We were stuck in Biloxi for 6 weeks, And when we went down there,
6 weeks?
yeah, we were stuck because they kept giving him the runaround, like the part will be here tomorrow, the part it's going to be here at the end of the week. And we didn't really care that much because we were both crushing. Like I went down there with like maybe $1,000 and I had like a $15,000 bankroll. And I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I mean, it was half the winnings were from the crap table, and it was. But there was this one occasion that was pretty cool. Was Bay St. Louis, which is about a 30-minute drive, and we would occasionally drive over there because they had a big bad beat jackpot, and I had built it up to where I was playing 10-20 limit at the time. And yeah, I mean it is for I went down there with 1,500. We were playing 10-20 and we hit the bad beat jackpot. Oh, baby. And so I got the player's share, and I still lost for the session. Oh no! Like the player's share was like $2,200 or something. But the thing that I remember about it is like I was so scared because it was taxable. And I had my brother's ID, but I didn't know my brother's social security number.
No.
So I just made up a number thinking. So yeah, that was I was definitely committing.
6, 7.
Yeah, I was definitely committing pretty bad crimes. But yeah, those days down to Biloxi, I used to. If I ever had $1,000, I had this Honda Civic that went all the way to Biloxi on 1 tank of gas, and I would drive down there anytime that I had $1,000. And there were multiple times that I never got a hotel room. I would drive down there, go broke, get right back in my car and drive back to Atlanta, find a job to make $300 or $400. Yeah, those are the days.
So how long a drive was it? Like
It was if I was really cooking, I could do it in 5 hours.
Okay. And Tunica wasn't on your radar as much?
No, Tunica started having PLO. Tunica really had PLO before Biloxi did, and there was this guy that was a big attraction up there. His name was Robert Willis, and so like this was later on when I was starting to have a little bit of money, and so if I ever got to like the $10,000, $20,000 bankroll range, I would go over there and go to Philadelphia, Mississippi, and then go to Tunica and take a shot. Tunica was, it got big, then like the World Poker Open came there. I remember that. But I had some bad leaks in those age, and there was a place in Memphis that ended up getting a lot of my money. It was
all right.
Yeah,
good rib joint or
very good rib joint.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about a very special promotion that Table 1 is doing.
That's right. If you want to win 5% of me and Justin in the WSOP main event,
that could be up to like, I don't know, $800,000 if we get first and second, which we probably will.
There are a lot of ways to enter into the giveaway. We call it the swag and tag giveaway because you put on some Table 1 swag, you take a selfie, tag us, Twitter or Instagram at Table 1 Vegas, and that's it. That enters you into the contest.
Super simple, guys. It literally takes probably, I don't know, like even a boomer like me can probably get it done in like a minute and a half or something like that. So all you have to do is get some swag, get it online. You can go to the newsletter, or if you see Art and I out in a poker room somewhere, we have a bunch of patches just in our bag, just ready to give you. So if you see us, come talk to us.
That's right. You don't have to buy anything. You can just find us and impress us with a joke. No, you just have to
just say you like me. That's all I need.
That's really the only reason we do this podcast, so people will tell us they like us. So keep doing that, and back to the pod.
I have a really distinct memory of, and it's crazy because it's been one of the things that pushes me as a poker player and pushes me to really want to have a big career so it was the year 2000, it was January 2000, and it was the first year of the World Poker Open, and Mark Napolitano, he used to own Poker Pages. I don't know if you remember.
I do. Yeah.
So Poker Pages was one of the first poker content sites. Well, he had this idea to put together team poker pages. in the year 2000, nobody had ever thought of this shit. There was no ambassadors. There was nobody, but he had this idea of having a team poker pages. And so he called me, or I don't even know if I had a phone back then, but we had a meeting at like 10 o'clock in the morning before the tournament started. And so I show up because I had just won my first bracelet in 99. I'm really digging this thing. Like, I'd never been really good at anything and never really gotten much attention, but now I'm getting a little bit of attention and I like it. So I'm sitting there with Mark, and Alan Cunningham walks up. He's supposed to be at this meeting too. Then John Juanda walks up. He's at this meeting. Then this kid from Canada, Daniel Negreanu, walks up. Then this kid from New Jersey, Phil Ivey, walks up. So Mark Napolitano has me, Ivey, Negreanu, Juanda, Alan Cunningham sitting at this table. And he has this idea to put together team poker pages. But he doesn't have any money. There's nobody to fund it. He doesn't know, but he's got this vision. And so my whole career, I just always think, earn your spot at that table. Because look who I'm sitting there with. Daniel, Phil, Juanda, and Alan Cunningham. I mean, these guys are the cream of the crop, absolutely crushed for forever. I mean, like, going forward from there.
Those guys all have as much of a reputation as they do now. I mean, that was
No,
year 2000,
that was 2000.
Right?
Daniel might have had one bracelet. Ivy, maybe one bracelet. No,
Probably
it's
not. Yeah,
none.
yeah.
Ivy might not have had any bracelets at this point. No, this was before anything. Nobody knew anything. Right. There might have been, between the five of us, there may have been 2 bracelets. So my whole career, like, I just think to so many times I have a thought process that says, earn your spot at that table. And it's been pretty powerful for me as like a trigger to get back to my foundations and get my thoughts moving in the right direction.
So whatever happened with the team poker?
Nothing. No, it was just his idea. But and I guarantee you, the 4 of those other guys don't remember it one bit. Yeah. But it was just something that was monumental to me. Every time I see one of those guys succeed, it's like, holy shit, I was sitting at that table, and I just earn your spot. I need to earn my spot at that table because those guys are all beasts in the poker world.
And I don't want to glaze over the fact you won your first bracelet in '99, right? Like, was that your first trip out to Vegas? Was that like a...
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. It was my second tournament. So
of course. Yeah.
So, well, it was my second World Series of Poker tournament.
I got you.
I had some success in Biloxi, but that's just local stuff with nobody that ever gets out. Then I went to Philadelphia, Mississippi, and had a little success down there. And I was like, you know what? And it was at a stage in my life. I had just quit my job. I didn't quit to be a poker player. I quit to start my own business, but that's a different story, and it didn't work out. So I went to Vegas, and naturally, the degen in me stayed up all night, probably at a place I shouldn't have been, but also playing video poker all night. Then my first tournament was a 2,000 buy-in tournament, and I just stayed up all night, bought in that, and dusted that quickly. And then I slept for like 15 hours, and then won the next
tournament.
The next tournament I played, yeah.
How old were you then?
24.
Okay.
99, 24.
And I of course had to look it up, like the final table. It was
who's pretty
who.
cool.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Like,
I look back, and I remember having a phone call with my best friend, telling him about this guy named Howard Lederer and telling him some of the patterns that I picked up, and it's pretty funny thinking back. It's like, I remember telling him that no matter what happens, he calls in the blind and he always check raises. So I'm going to flat his check raise, and I'm going to raise the turn, and no matter what. And I look back and I think about, I'm a pattern kind of guy. Like I pick up on patterns and like, I don't know, I like number sequences and I'm always looking at license plates and numbers, really weird. But that was thinking back of the strategies that I would think of out of the box. And back then there wasn't
strategy.
You know that
you made a
don't-
pair and hope it was good. That was
but
kinda-
also any strategy was something that you created. You
Yeah.
couldn't go online, or you could read a few books, but I mean, if you go back and look at the material from 30 years, 25 years ago, it's worthless.
Yeah.
Everything, and so it's cool. I've always enjoyed looking back at me creating my way, and it's something that you've done also.
No, of course,
You don't play like the robots. You create your own way, and
maybe
it's
to my
cool.
detriment from time to time,
But no,
obviously. But like, yeah,
but
you have to
also-
push the edges to find out where you are.
There's a fine line, and the people that dance that fine line are the ones that do cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to anyone that can, whatever, be in the poker world or gambling world for 20 plus years, like both of us have been or whatever. It's tough because there's basically two roads to go down. Either
poker evolves just like everything else, and the further we get into this simulation or whatever this is, it's like everything is smarter and smarter and smarter. And now, like, now when I'm scrolling Twitter, it's like everybody's talking about, oh, I'm gonna go run it in Monk or Sim, and it's like, I mean, poker's dead. I mean, poker. I mean, it's not dead
I know
now.
what you mean, yeah.
But like, I mean, the lower limit stuff is always going to be there because that's going to be the people that are having fun. But when you get to the super high levels, it's going to be really tough for people to make a living.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's a bit daunting, especially since I don't adhere or I don't study as the other top pros.
Agree.
So I feel like I've been a bit left in the dust. But the one thing I do hold on to, and like it's probably maybe falsely, is like I feel like everyone thought poker was solved 8 years ago, and 10 years ago, and 15 years ago. Everyone was like, oh, this new strategy, you're only going to open to 2.5 blinds instead of 4 or 5 blinds. Oh my God, you just changed the world, like and then now you're supposed to 3-bet like all these hands, and they're like, oh, you're supposed to 4-bet all these hands, and you're like, it's solved. Like, I mean, you can't do anything about it. And then
there's always it's interesting. It really is. Yeah. It's the human. It's just what the human element brings, and it's cool that nobody is going to be able to play a full hand exactly like a computer will.
Exactly.
There's way too many hidden variables and whatnot.
Exactly.
So it'll never be. I know there's the fear out there that it's going to be like chess soon, and you'll be sitting over the table and calculate. I mean, it's kind of some of it. The players are acting like it's chess, but it's just too hard. It's just too hard to like.
I imagine there just has to be a time where the pendulum comes back the other way, where somebody smarter than us is going to figure out how to beat what standard GTO is now.
Yeah, that's.
And then they're going to be like, oh, you can exploit this or this and this, and just like set people up for it, and then
I might start studying that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that'll be fun seeing the bots get just murdered.
And like.
Short-circuited.
Yeah.
Like my strength throughout my career has always been, okay, I don't know what perfect poker is, but all I want to do is try to figure out how to exploit what people think perfect poker is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's
This one's tough. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that I understand bigger situations better than most. Like, and then also one thing. I know I get better, and I know my thought processes are better the more adrenaline that's running, and that's, I didn't realize that till a few years ago when I actually hired a coach, and we were talking about that, and it's like you can prepare all you want, but it's how you perform under pressure. Yeah. And then I started thinking, like, it's like playing golf, like when I'm gambling playing golf. Some guy will rob me for 100. Like, and I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can for 100 a hole. But now all of a sudden, we're playing for 1,000 a hole, and I'm a hustler. And like you weren't playing like that for 100. And I swear, like
you're just focused.
Yeah, it's there's just, you know, just this trigger that goes off when my thoughts start flowing better when there's more adrenaline.
You think a lot of that has to do with like gambling as like a 9th grader, a 10th grader, like in that window at the pool hall?
I do. I definitely do. I think that I'm going to understand my feelings and understand my thoughts and control. I'm going to stay focused and stay in that zone that I need to stay in easier and longer than, you know, some kid or a person that did it behind a computer, you know.
Yeah, and I think that also like that window, I think I read something recently where it was from age like 11 to 16, if you're like hyper focused on something, like for computer programmers, you know, computer scientists, it's like coding websites and stuff like that. But like for gamblers, you know, you were gambling and hyper focused on gambling and pool and the gambling part of your life in that window, that if you're hyper focused in that window, that even if somebody starts only a couple years later, your brain is rewired and they can't catch up with you, like no matter what. Like
that makes sense.
Even if they from 20 to 50, like at age 50, you're still going to have an edge on them in that way.
That's cool.
So.
Yeah. Any edge, I'll take any edge I can get. It's
So D-Gen, start early.
But it's true. I mean, you see it in all sports and even poker or whatever. Like, no one ever, like, well, outside of maybe like when you're too dumb to know, but like wins their first big final table or anything like that. Like they say it in the sports, like whatever, like the Timberwolves this year in the NBA. They're too young. They don't have the experience in the NBA, like, you know, playoffs or whatever. Like you got to get, you know, that gambling experience. Got to know what losing feels like and know how to like overcome that, so you don't get nervous or scared or anxious over like, the big moments.
I've always, I get nervous, and I understand that it's there, and I think that I'm just used to it. I think that I'm used to the nerves, and I embrace the anxiety. I remember, one thing I remember, 2004 when I made the main event final table at the Horseshoe. Before the introductions, the 9 of us were in this little holding room, half the size of this room. I mean, it was literally a little closet. It was like the tournament director's office, and Matt Savage was the tournament director at the time. And Matt comes back there, and I'm bouncing. I mean, I have so much energy. I had a lot of swag back then. It was just like, I knew I was going to win. I mean, anybody will tell you that makes the main event final table that it's destiny. Mm-hmm. Like if you interviewed every single person before the main event final table, there is some form of them telling you that it's destiny, that they're here and they're going to win. And I could have sold that to any living human because I 1,000% knew that I was winning the World Series of Poker in 2004. And I had my heart rate must have been like 110 just at resting. And I was bouncing up and down, and I feel like I played pretty good to my ability at that time. And I didn't blow it. So I don't know. I always feel that like I was my childhood and coming up as a young gambler like bred me for the bigger moments, and it's one edge that I'll always have.
That must have been a fun time to be coming up in poker, like that 2001 to the online poker boom and all that.
Yeah, it was. It's like, if you think about it, one of my best friends won the main event last year. I watched every hand, every time it's been on TV. I watch it just because it brings back such great memories. And I couldn't tell you who came in third. I couldn't tell you, in the last 20 years, I couldn't tell you one third place finisher. But that year I finished third, and still to this day, so many people come up to me and it was like, "Oh man, you finished third. I loved watching that. You were a dick." And it was, but Yeah, I had a hard time with that. It was the editors needed a villain.
Yeah,
I
of
gave
course.
it. I gave it to them. I did the stuff. Like at first, it was like, oh no, fuck their editing. It was I'm not that person. But as I got older and grew into myself and have started to have confidence in who I was, I owned that stuff and I gave it to them. But it was just me as a young competitor. Like I feel like I'm a competitor, and it came out, and it's fun.
You didn't look that bad.
Yeah,
It's probably tough to look in the mirror sometimes over that kind of stuff.
yeah, no, I'm totally fine. I smile. I mean, I was a young, cocky, brash. Like, I thought that I was going to win everything that I did, any competition. Like, no matter what, I always think to this day, and it's a flaw, and it's why I lose big numbers sometimes. It's like I always have this optimism that I'm going to find some way to win, and it works. And
Call it your flaw. That might be your edge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think.
but
that's
it hurts sometimes. I mean, I blow big numbers just because I get myself in a bad spot, and I'm able to evaluate good and bad spots pretty well. But sometimes, there's better hustlers out there, and there's people that play it off pretty good, and I'll lose a big number just because of that empty optimism.
Now, every time I'm on a big downswing or like close to broke or something like that, and I recover, there's always that feeling of like, oh, never going to do that again.
No, yeah, you are.
I'm so much smarter than I was last time. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's something that I've preached my entire career is don't go broke the same way twice. And as a young kid, I found so many ways to go broke. I mean, I went broke weekly. I mean, I was living on the edge nonstop. But that's back when I didn't have responsibilities, and it cost me $2,000 a month to live, or I mean, maybe even less. But as long as I don't go broke the same way twice, eventually I'll stop going broke.
Yeah.
And I've done a good job of that over my career, and with just a little bit of bankroll management and stopping. I've gone broke shooting dice. I've gone broke video poker, sports, women. I mean, I've fucking done it all. It's luckily I never was into drinking and drugs, and otherwise I probably would be
Would have gone broke that way.
way
too.
broke.
So you've got 2 more ways to find out.
Yeah, no. It's I got married last month, and I have an amazing woman that is perfect for me, and it's weird. Like I've gotten older, and it's like I don't know. I used to look at every woman and just think that I just needed to sleep with every woman, but no, I'm extremely happy, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's
It's 2 very happily married men that seem like a rare bird. Like these
yeah,
days.
I found it took some years, but I found my person, and it's the most comforting feeling, and it's everything that I ever imagined it would be.
That's great. What's her name? Give her a shout out. I'm sure she's gonna watch.
Rachel, I love you.
Shout out to Rachel.
You're my biggest win.
Well, you mentioned this a little bit about kind of falling in some traps, but like, how did you deal with the success of getting third? Because like that was what, like $2.5 million, and like I don't know what your bankroll was leading up to it.
Yeah,
but,
it was really cool. Like, so 2 weeks before the main event, or maybe a month before the main event in 2004, was the first big WPT championship. It was at the Bellagio, and Martin Dickneef won it. Martin and I were both top 5 in chips going into whatever day we were getting close to the money, and we swapped 5%. And yeah,
that was a big one too.
Yeah, it was first place was $1 million. And so I had won 50,000 earlier in the month, and I still remember to this day. Martin showed up at the Horseshoe, and I was playing poker, and threw me a brick of 50,000, and I put that in the bank, and like I think before that my bankroll was not good. I mean, it was
Just a roll, no
yeah.
bank.
My bankroll was maybe like $20K or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucked
That's
up.
huge. Then.
Yeah, I was fucked up. And so I put that in the bank, and then later on in the month, I ended up finishing third, and so yeah, it's been up only since 2004.
So did you just go out and just play every tournament you could, or were you just kind of like?
Poker was really good at that time. I did play a lot. So right after the coverage, so that was in May of 2024, and so shortly after WPT had just released their first season 1 schedule, and there was a tournament at Paris, the Aviation Club, and this is a fucked up story. So it's my first trip to Europe playing poker, and I go there with my then wife and my stepdaughter, and bust out the tournament, and we're flying home the next day. I'm there with Eric Lindgren. Also, Eric Lindgren was traveling with us as well, and so me and Eric are going to play poker all night. So we're playing poker all night. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I was like, Eric, we got to leave. I cash out. I was playing 3 and 600. And I had 40,000 in euro in my hand. And I'm standing behind Eric. Eric's playing with, I remember it was Barry Greenstein and Ivy, and I don't remember who else. And I was like, Eric, we got to go. Eric says, let me play till my blind. And I start hearing these dishes break around the corner. So I look my head, I peep my head around the corner, and there's a guy with a machine gun.
Holy shit.
What?
And a motorcycle helmet. And the machine gun is pointing at the porter who's cleaning up the dishes. And he's yelling shit in French. And I don't know a word of French. And
He's probably not, thanking him
no,
for the dessert.
no. Then somebody yells in English, says, everybody get down, we're getting robbed. And so now, the Aviation Club is on the main road, which is the Champs-Élysées or something like that. Whatever the main road in France, in Paris is. And so it's on the second floor, so there's only one way in and one way out.
Oh, no.
So I get behind a big stack of chairs, because they're starting to clean up from the tournament. It's down to the final table. And the robbers think that all this money that is being given away at this tournament is there, and they're coming to get it. So I'm like in fetal position behind this stack of folding chairs, and all this is going on. And so now I can see the robber filling a pillowcase full of money from the cage. They keep passing money. And in Europe, they have 500 euro bills.
That's a lot of money.
And so they're making a score. I mean, so this is going on for like 2 minutes. Carlos Mortensen is literally 2 feet from this, and he's peeping his head around the corner watching. And I was like, dude, we called him Amigo back then. His name was Amigo. And I was just thinking, Amigo, fucking get away. Now over here, Eric, Barry Greenstein, and Ivy are under the table. They were playing 8 and 1600, and they're under the table. And I hear Ivy say, "I'm on for doubles next hand." This fucking guy. We're in the middle of being robbed. The robber is saying shit in French that we don't know, and all Ivy's thinking about is when this is over, he's on doubles and props. So this goes on for like, it felt like eternity. It was probably 2 minutes, but they filled this bag full of money for 2 minutes, and it looked heavy. They finally leave, and it's really quiet, like nobody's saying a word, and like 30 seconds later, they're back. The guy is back.
Oh, no.
So I'm instantly thinking, okay, the police are here. This is a hostage situation. I'm looking at the window right behind me, and I'm like thinking, do I jump out the window? What the fuck do I do? Luckily, they dropped their keys. The robbers dropped the keys to their scooter. They robbed us. They came in a scooter. Could you imagine the getaway car with a guy with a fucking pillow? Yes, a guy with some like Wile E. Coyote cruising on a scooter with a pillowcase full of money. But luckily, it was gone. It was over, and everybody was fine. Nobody got hurt. The craziest thing about it all was one of my vivid memories is, so there was a bouncer at the Aviation Club, and they wouldn't let us leave because the police had to come, and but we had a flight to catch, and so it's like now, I mean, we're gonna miss our flight, and so I had to call my then wife to let her know what the fuck's going on. And back then, in the early 2000s, phones, it was a race to see who could make the smallest phone. And in France, the phones were small. And this bouncer was huge. And I was like, I need to call my wife. And he's like, what hotel is she staying at? I'll call for you. And he had these enormous hands with this tiny ass phone. And you would think, so let me rewind. There was two gunmen. One held the security guard, to where he couldn't do anything, and the other one did the work. But you would think that this guy that just had a gun to his head for 5 minutes had some adrenaline and would be. I mean, I'm shaking thinking about it. Yeah. And this guy, you would think he was shaking, but he wasn't. And I was like, instantly in my head, I was like, this guy's in on it. Oh. And because he just dialed the phone number to this hotel on this tiny ass phone with these enormous hands, and so just to this day I still think he was in on it. They never, the funniest thing about it is how sharp the people at the casino are. The press release came out, we got robbed, and the robbers got away with 78,000 euro.
Which can't be true.
Zero chance. Absolutely zero chance. I mean, they got away with no less than $1 million. It was insane. But yeah, I haven't been back to France since. And for a couple years, it went away. But for a couple years, I would have PTSD every time I saw somebody on a scooter with a motorcycle helmet. It was
checking for pillowcases.
Yeah, yeah. That
if you were a crap stealer at the Bellagio when the biker bandit came through, you'd be right.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
It's nice though they didn't go after any of the players though.
Yeah,
there was a lot of money on the table if you guys were playing 3-6 and 6-18.
Yeah, no, I had 40,000 in my hand.
Yeah.
And that was so in my poker career, I've been robbed twice, and I'm still plus $200 to this day. It's I didn't lose any money there, and then there was another robbery at home that I got out of. I don't know how, but
was it like a home invasion or?
No, we were playing poker, and there was this really weird guy that was playing with us. It was like 5-10 limit. I think I was 20 years old. We were playing 5-10 limit mixed games, and I got this really weird vibe from this guy, and. So back then there used to be a thing called, you know what a kitty is, where like whenever I win a pot, I throw something in it. And so I was like, hey man, you want a kitty? And I was doing it as an edge because he's in every pot. Mm-hmm. And so, so me and him are kittying, and so now it's time to cash out, and I bought in for 200 and I won 400. So I literally had 6 $100 bills on the table. He comes around the corner with a gun that it wasn't this big, but it fucking looked this big. And so he comes around the corner, and my back is to the hall where he's coming from, and he puts the gun right to my back. And he says, guys, my wife is in the hospital. All I want is the money that I've lost back. And so now the game runner, and the game runner's name was JJ. He was he was just a rotten guy. And so the guy says, JJ, where's the house money? And the guy reaches in his pocket and he's got a bankroll like that. And the guy says, "Yep, that's about what I lost." So he takes that, and then I have $600 on the table, and the guy says, "Josh, how much did you win?" And I said, I bought in 200 and I won 400. He said, "You played good. You deserve half of it." He only took $200 off the table. And so then after that, he
I like this guy.
yeah, no. So now, so after he took all of our driver's licenses, and about a week later in the mail, I got my driver's license back with a photocopy of it, and it said, "Don't look for me. I have friends that play with fire." That was the exact words. So now, fast forward about 6 months. There's a shootout at this bar in Marietta, and it was that guy.
Oh.
He robs the bar in Marietta, which is a suburb of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He robs the bar, stays there for 30 minutes. After he robs the bar, when he's going outside, the police are there waiting for him, and he gets in a shootout with them, and they kill him.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, it was.
Kind of respect him though.
I mean, it's like I'll never forget it. Those were his exact words. Were, "Josh, you played good. You deserve half of it." And I was this cocky kid, and I could see myself saying something stupid like, "Why do I only deserve half?" But yeah, those were those. It's
Good old
crazy.
days.
Yeah, it's crazy having to play underground games, and nowadays it's like those are the least of your worries. You're not going to get robbed by gunpoint anymore. You're going to get cheated, or you're going to get arrested, or not paid. And there was one time in Atlanta, this never crossed my mind. Like, I've always been hyper focused about cheating, robberies, getting busted by the police, but this game came up in Atlanta where I keep hearing these numbers. Like, I've never been really invited to many games in Atlanta because they're really soft and very bad players. But I start hearing about these numbers where guys are losing like 30 and 40 a night. And so I work my way in, and I get there, and I'm 70 loser. I'm not 70 loser. I'm 70 in the game, mm-hmm. and I'm all in with a wrap against this top set. I win this hand. I end up turning it around. I'm 140,000 winner around, let's call it 24 hours later. So now, and you know how games go when you play for these long sessions, the table gets all messy, the credit pad is over here, the cash out chips are over here. Well, all of a sudden there's a deck of cards over here. And this guy says, "Well, what are these cards?" And so he picks them up and he's like, "These are the RFID cards, the cards with the cheating on the bar, on the side." And the guy kind of knew who I was, or the guy knew who I was, and he was like, "Josh, I don't want you to see this. You need to cash out and go." Okay, this guy was from the street. I mean, this guy was very hood, and he's like, "Josh, cash out and go." So I cash out. I was the only winner in the game. I was the only person that won the entire session. So the next day, the game runner, we have a meeting, and they're like, "Josh, this cheating deck of cards was in the game, and they think you put him in. They think you're cheating."
Yeah, you're the only one that won.
You're the only person that won. They think you're cheating. And so I go take a lie detector test. And so basically, what the scam was is these kids were trading paper, like trading credit, no matter who lost, who won. And they were targeting a few people. And if there was ever a situation like mine that came up that where somebody else won, they would just put this deck of cards in and accuse them of cheating. And so like I got accused of cheating. I ended up getting paid $31,000 from a guy that knew me and lost, and he's like, "Josh, I know you didn't cheat. I'm paying." And so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I got stiffed for 110 and accused of cheating, and
So what was the point of the lie detector test? That was just like
to prove to them that to save face. It was before things evolved to where I really figured out the scam.
Gotcha.
And it's like I thought that I needed to take that to get paid. I thought that the game runner guaranteed the money. It was. So, but like my whole life,
it's a good scam.
Yeah, it is. Like my whole life, or not my whole life, but as I got smarter and older, I kind of know if I'm being cheated. I know how to avoid it, but I never knew that I had to avoid being accused of being cheated. And so yeah, that was just another thing to have to worry about in the underground poker scene.
Won't be long before we can't have phones at the table at all. I heard of a scam going now where I don't know, not confirmed or anything, but it was like a little mini camera on the side of the phones on the table is hole carding the pitch, and then somebody else is feeding the cards to somebody else or to the players at the table and like telling them what to do. I don't know. It's tough out there, guys.
It is. It's
watch yourselves.
It's treacherous. I don't enjoy playing live poker. I mean, playing cash. I don't enjoy playing live cash unless I know everybody, and it's more of a social thing, to where I have fun and I don't have to be hyper conscious of being cheated, or, you know, it's like y'all's game that y'all have at table one. It's like, it looks fun every time I see Chino's updates where there's a ton of straddling and a lot of banter, and you know, that looks fun.
Just a quick break here, guys. Are you tired of playing with players like this? Not this.
No.
Like this? Or this?
Or do you want to play with players like this?
Oh wait, if you like having fun at the poker table, Table 1 is the game for you. We play high stakes, no limit, 100 blinds. And if you want to get into the game, it's actually super easy. We have a website, table1.vegas. You just go to the website, you click get a seat in the game, and fill out the form. It's that easy. It's your name, it's your phone number, it's the date that you're here, and I will personally reach out to you.
And it's only $5K minimum buy-in. You know, run it up at 2.5 and join us.
But like going to other, I wouldn't play in any of the home games where there's just too much to worry about.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, I mean, like home game specifically or whatever. If someone's running a home game, they're either raking too much or they're cheating, and there's no in between. No one does it out of the good of their heart and just like, I'll probably beat the game.
Right.
You know, it's one or the other. Or both sometimes.
And then beyond the cheating, you also got to worry about getting paid. If they do the wrong credit to the wrong person and they don't get paid, then you don't get paid.
It's crazy. People just think that you just don't have to pay. I mean, and then it's like all of a sudden it's 6 figures and it just gets too big to pay.
Exactly, yeah.
And
What's $1,000 a month gonna do? This is like nothing exactly. I'd rather just not pay you and keep the 1,000 if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
What's up, D-Gens? I hope you're enjoying the episode so far with Josh Arieh. Don't worry, there's still a lot more content with Josh. We had another 40 minutes that we couldn't fit into this episode. So that'll be a part 2 coming out. If you're listening to this in the future and it's already out, it will be in the description below, a link. If not, sorry, you're just gonna have to wait a few days to hear about some crazy golf gambling stories, his company pokerstake.com, and a lot more. So, you know, fulfill that degenerates agreement, like, subscribe, put on the little notifications, and you'll get an alert when our new episodes drop. So that's it. That's the pod.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us lacking.